A decimal mark is a symbol used to separate the integer part from the fractional part of a number written in decimal form. Different countries officially designate different symbols for the decimal mark. The choice of symbol for the decimal mark also affects the choice of symbol for the thousands separator used in digit grouping, so the latter is also treated in this article. In mathematics, the decimal mark is a type of radix point, a term that also applies to number systems with bases other than 10. Conversationally, the decimal point is commonly referred to as a decimal dot. History. In the Middle Ages, before printing, a bar over the units digit was used to separate the integral part of a number from its fractional part, e.g., 9995. This practice derived from the decimal system used in Indian mathematics and was popularized by the Persian mathematician Al-Khwarizmi, when Latin translation of his work on the Indian numerals introduced the decimal positional number system to the Western world. His compendious book on calculation by completion and balancing presented the first systematic solution of linear and quadratic equations in Arabic. A similar notation remains in common use as an underbar to superscript digits, especially for monetary values without a decimal mark, e.g., 9995. Later, a separator between the units and tenths position became the norm among Arab mathematicians, e.g., 9995. When this character was typeset, it was convenient to use the existing comma or full stop instead. Gerbert of Aurillac marked triples of columns with an arc when using his Hindu-Arabic numeral-based abacus in the 10th century. Fibonacci followed this convention when writing numbers such as in his influential work Liber Abaci in the 13th century. In France, the full stop was already in use in printing to make Roman numerals more readable, so the comma was chosen. Many other countries, such as Italy, also chose to use the comma to mark the decimal unit's position. It has been made standard by the ISO for international blueprints. However, English-speaking countries took the comma to separate sequences of 3 digits. In some countries, a raised dot or dash may be used for grouping or decimal mark. This is particularly common in handwriting. In the United States, the full stop or period was used as the standard decimal mark. In the nations of the British Empire, although the full stop could be used in typewritten material and its use was not banned, the interpunct was preferred for the decimal mark in printing technologies that could accommodate it, e.g., 9995. However, as the mid-dot was already in common use in the mathematics world to indicate multiplication, the SI rejected its use as the decimal mark. During the beginning of British metrication in the late 1960s, and with impending currency decimalisation, there was widespread debate in the United Kingdom as to whether the decimal comma or decimal point should be preferred. The British Standards Institution and some sectors of industry advocated the comma, and the Decimal Currency Board advocated for the point. In the event, the point was decided on by the Ministry of Technology in 1968. When South Africa adopted the metric system, it adopted the comma as its decimal mark, although a number of house styles, including some English-language newspapers, such as the Sunday Times, continue to use the full stop. The 3 most spoken international auxiliary languages, Ido, Esperanto, and Interlingua, all use the comma as the decimal mark. Interlingua has used the comma as its decimal mark since the publication of the Interlingua grammar in 1951. Esperanto also uses the comma as its official decimal mark, while thousands are separated by non-breaking spaces. 12,345,678. 9. Ido's completa grammatico titolosa di la lingua internazionale. Ido officially states that commas are used for the decimal mark while full stops are used to separate thousands, millions, etc. So the number 12,345,678.90123, for instance, would be written 12,345.678, 90,123 in Ido. The 1931 Grammar of Volapük by Ari de Jong uses the comma as its decimal mark, and uses the middle dot as the thousands separator. In 1958, disputes between European and American delegates over the correct representation of the decimal mark nearly stalled the development of the ALGOL computer programming language. ALGOL ended up allowing different decimal marks, but most computer languages and standard data formats specify a dot. The 22nd General Conference on Weights and Measures declared in 2003 that the symbol for the decimal marker shall be either the point on the line or the comma on the line. It further reaffirmed that numbers may be divided in groups of 3 in order to facilitate reading. Neither dots nor commas are ever inserted in the spaces between groups, e.g., 1 billion. This usage has therefore been recommended by technical organizations, such as the United States' National Institute of Standards and Technology. Digit grouping. For ease of reading, numbers with many digits may be divided into groups using a delimiter. In some countries, these digit group separators are only employed to the left of the decimal mark. In others, they are also used to separate numbers with a long fractional part. An important reason for grouping is that it allows rapid judgment of the number of digits via subitizing rather than counting. Contrast 1 billion with 1 billion for a short billion. Since 2003, the use of spaces as separators has been officially endorsed by SI ISO 31-0 standard, as well as by the International Bureau of Weights and Measures and the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. The American Medical Association's widely followed AMA Manual of Style, and the Metrication Board, among others. The groups created by the delimiters tend to follow the use of the local language, which varies. In European languages, large numbers are read in groups of thousands and the delimiter may be called a thousands separator. In East Asian cultures, particularly China, Japan, and Korea, large numbers are read in groups of myriads, but the delimiter commonly separates every 3 digits. The Indian numbering system is somewhat more complex. It groups the rightmost 3 digits in a similar manner to European languages, but then groups every 2 digits thereafter. 1.5 million would accordingly be written 15,000 and readers 15 lakh. The convention for digit group separators historically varied among countries, but usually seeking to distinguish the delimiter from the decimal mark. Traditionally, English-speaking countries employed commas as the delimiter, 10,000, and other European countries employed periods or spaces, 10.000 or 10,000, because of the confusion that could result in international documents. In recent years, the use of spaces as separators has been advocated by the superseded SI ISO 31-0 standard, as well as by the International Bureau of Weights and Measures and the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, which have also begun advocating the use of a thin space in groups of 3. Within the United States, the American Medical Association's widely followed AMA Manual of Style also calls for a thin space. In some online encoding environments, a thin space is not practical or available, in which case a regular word space or no delimiter are the alternatives. In 2014, the Metrication Board also proposed the system of using a space for separation in the United Kingdom. While it is not universally adopted, it is standard within the country's construction industry. Data versus mask digit group separators can occur either as part of the data or as a mask through which the data is displayed. This is an example of the separation of presentation and content. In many computing contexts, it is preferred to omit digit group separators from the data and instead overlay them as a mask. Common examples include spreadsheets and databases in which currency values are entered without such marks but are displayed with them inserted. Similarly, phone numbers can have hyphens or spaces as a mask rather than as data. In some programming languages, it is possible to group the digits in the program's source code to make it easier to read. See integer literal digit separators. Ada, D, Java, Perl and Ruby use the underscore character for this purpose. All these languages allow writing 700 million as 700_000_000. C++14 allows the use of the apostrophe for digit grouping, and therefore 700 million can be represented as 700,000,000. Exceptions to digit grouping. The International Bureau of Weights and Measures states that, when there are only 4 digits before or after the decimal marker, it is customary not to use a space to isolate a single digit. Likewise, some manuals of style state that thousands separators should not be used in normal text for numbers from 1000 to 9999 inclusive where no decimal, fractional part is shown, whereas others use thousands separators, and others use both. For example, APA style stipulates a thousands separator for most figures of 1000 or more, except for page numbers, binary digits, temperatures, etc. There are always common sense exceptions to digit grouping, such as years, postal codes and ID numbers of predefined non-grouped format, which style guides usually point out. In non-base 10 numbering systems in binary, a full space can be used between groups of 4 digits, corresponding to a nibble, or equivalently to a hexadecimal digit. Alternatively, binary digits may be grouped by 3s, corresponding to an octal digit. Similarly, in hexadecimal, full spaces are usually used to group digits into 2s, making each group correspond to a byte. Influence of calculators and computers. In countries with a decimal comma, the decimal point is also common as the international notation because of the influence of devices, such as electronic calculators, which use the decimal point. Most computer operating systems allow selection of the decimal mark, and programs that have been carefully internationalized will follow this. But some programs ignore it and a few are even broken by it. Hindu-Arabic numeral system. Countries using Hindu-Arabic numerals with decimal point. Countries where a dot is used as decimal mark include Australia, Bangladesh, Botswana, British West Indies, Brunei, Canada, China, People's Republic of Dominican Republic, Egypt, El Salvador, Ghana, Guatemala, Honduras, Hong Kong, India, Ireland, Israel, Japan, Jordan, Kenya, Korea, North Korea, South Lebanon, Luxembourg, Macau, Malaysia, Malta, Mexico, Mongolia, Nepal, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Pakistan, Palestine, Panama, Philippines, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Switzerland, Taiwan, Tanzania, Thailand, Uganda, United Kingdom, United States, Zimbabwe. Countries using Arabic numerals with decimal comma. Countries where a comma is used as decimal mark include Albania, Algeria, Andorra, Angola, Argentina, Armenia, Austria, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Belgium, Bolivia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Brazil, Bulgaria, Cameroon, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Croatia, Cuba, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, East Timor, Ecuador, Estonia, Faroes, Finland, France, Germany, Georgia, Greece, Greenland, Hungary, Iceland, Indonesia, Italy, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Lebanon, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Macau, Macedonia, Moldova, Mongolia, Morocco, Mozambique, Namibia, the Netherlands, Norway, Paraguay, Peru, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Serbia, Slovakia, Slovenia, South Africa, Spain, Switzerland, Sweden, Tunisia, Turkey, Ukraine, Uruguay, Uzbekistan, Venezuela, Vietnam. Other numeral systems. Unicode defines a decimal separator key symbol which looks similar to the apostrophe. This symbol is from ISO IEC 9995 and is intended for use on a keyboard to indicate a key that performs decimal separation. In the Arab world, where Eastern Arabic numerals are used for writing numbers, a different character is used to separate the integer and fractional parts of numbers. It is referred to as an Arabic decimal separator in Unicode. An Arabic thousands separator also exists. In Persian, the decimal mark is called momize, which is written like a forward slash. There is a small difference between the comma character used in sentences and the momize used to separate sequences of 3 digits. To separate sequences of 3 digits, a comma or blank space may be used. However, this is not a standard. In English Braille, the decimal point is distinct from both the comma and the period, full stop. Examples of use. The following examples show the decimal mark and the thousands separator in various countries that use the Hindu-Arabic numeral system. In Albania, Belgium, Bosnia, Estonia, France, Hungary, Poland, Slovakia and much of Latin Europe as well as French Canada. 1,234,567.89. In Brazil, Denmark, Germany, Greece, Indonesia, Italy, Netherlands, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Slovenia, Sweden and much of Europe. 1,234,567.89 or 1,234.567.89. In handwriting, 1,234,567.89 is also seen, but never in Brazil, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Slovenia or Sweden. In Italy a straight apostrophe is also used in handwriting. 1,234,567.89. In the Netherlands, the points thousands separator is preferred in currency amounts, and the space for other large numbers. In Germany and Austria, thousands separators were occasionally denoted by alternating uses of comma and point, e.g., 1.234, 567.890, 12 for 1,234,000,000. In Switzerland, there are two cases. 1,234,567.89 is used for currency values. An apostrophe is thousands separator along with her as decimal mark. For other values the SI style 1,234,567.89 is used with her as decimal mark. The apostrophe is also the most common variety for non-currency values. 1,234,567.89, though this usage is officially discouraged. In Ireland, Israel, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, the Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, the United Kingdom, and the United States. 1,234,567.89 or 1,234,567.89. The latter is generally found only in older, and especially handwritten, documents. Australia used this style up until the 1970s. Now it uses the SI style. In English Canada, there are two cases. The preferred method for currency values is $4,000, while for numeric values it is 1,234,567.89. However, commas are also sometimes used, although no longer taught in school or used in official publications. SI style 1,234,567.89 or 1,234,567.89. In China, comma and space are used to mark digit groups because dot is used as decimal mark. There is no universal convention on digit grouping, so both thousands grouping and no-digit grouping can be found. Although names for large numbers in Chinese are based on powers of 10,000 is for 108, grouping is never done for every 4 digits. Japan is similar, although when grouping by myriads, numeral kanji are frequently used as separators. 1 2345 6789 over 1 2345 6789. In India, due to a numeral system using lakhs and crores, comma is used at levels of thousand, lakh and crore. For example, 10 million would be written as 1,000,000,000. In Pakistan, there is a greater tendency to use the standard Western system, while using the Indian numbering system when conducting business in Urdu. Unicode characters used with Western Arabic numerals: U plus 0020 space, U plus 0027 apostrophe, U plus 002C, comma, U plus 002E, full stop, U plus 00B7 middle dot, U plus 2009 thin space, U plus 202F narrow no break space, U plus 02D9 dot above, used with Eastern Arabic numerals. U plus 066B Arabic decimal separator, U plus 066C Arabic thousands separator, used with keyboards. U plus 2396 decimal separator key symbol.